Whether you're, I don't know, interested in this or not, I don't consider myself a pack rat. I've seen, those household pictures on those various TV shows of folks who are obsessed with hanging on to things until their homes are absolutely filled to the brim. I find those scenes particularly scary myself. But I have to admit, if the uninitiated came and visited my workshop, they might think I qualify, especially when it comes to wood. I absolutely hate getting rid of all my lovely pieces of wood. Now, wood chips are another thing. I give that to my neighbor and his chickens. But those 2x4 bits, the 2x8s, those glorious 2x12, plywood slabs, paneling slivers, and those precious chunks of hardwood, I hang on to those for dear life. Experience tells me, of course, and other woodworkers in the room likely know this as well, experience tells me that the moment after I throw out any of this wood is exactly the very moment I go looking for exactly that piece of wood, the same size, thickness, and material. It's heartbreaking knowing that I got rid of it when if I just hung on to it a little bit longer, so I hang on to it all. Now, some would call this obsessive, but I call it good wood stewardship. I've been thinking about building another shed into which I could store and sort all this great woody stuff, and currently I'm in negotiations with Kara. I don't think I'm all that weird. It makes a whole bunch of sense to me, but my wood fetish does remind me that part of my human tendency is wanting to hang on for dear life. My beetle, almost 500,000 kilometers, I hate the thoughts of having to trade that guy in. I get pictures from my grandchildren, both North Carolina and Thunder Bay, and I see them and I go, holy smokes, what's happened? Where are my kids? Where are my babies? And maybe that's why I'm torn between retirement and my love for active ministry. Sometimes it's just hard to let go. Hard to let go. And of course, Jesus knew all about this, didn't he? This human tendency to hang on. Hang on to the familiar. Hang on to the comfortable. Hang on to the known quantity, even if that known quantity involves pain. What's that proverbial saying? Better the devil you know, or maybe on this Easter morning, let's flip that around. Better the Jesus you know. Better the Jesus you know. And right here, of course, is where we run headlong into Mary. I don't know about you, I can hardly imagine the heartbreak and loss so powerfully turned around and into joy and heart-exploding delight. Of course, the very first thing Mary wants to do is to rush forward and reach out and to touch and to hug and to caress and to physically get reconnected with Jesus. How else do you express such a wonderful rebirth of euphoric happiness? It's bursting all over the place. It's bursting, exploding right out of Mary. So, of course, Mary reaches out to reclaim her teacher, to hang on to her Lord, her very best friend, so she will never, ever lose Jesus again. But then Jesus says what to Mary's heart must have been absolutely crushing. Don't hold on to me. Don't hold on to me. And then more about ascending to the Father, whatever that means, and why in the world would we want to do that anyway? You just got back. Why do you want to leave again? And right there in that very moment is the glorious power of the resurrection writ large. Jesus is in effect saying to Mary, look, you cannot hold on to me. You cannot possess me. You cannot claim me. You cannot restrain me, or you cannot confine me. You can't own me. Rather, it is I, Jesus, who now holds and possesses and indeed liberates you. All of Now look, however you conceptualize the resurrection, the key to this powerful core of our faith is exactly that. It's liberation. Yes, certainly for Christian people, the resurrection reveals and extends to us a promise of life forever being lived in the very presence of God. Life is guaranteed. Life has no boundaries. Death has never been the ultimate measure of life. The resurrection of Jesus is the power of God's love on absolute full display. But you know what? There's even more here. There's an immediacy to this life. The resurrection of Jesus means that we do not have to hold on to life as if it might slip out of our hands or run through our fingers like sand. Jesus is teaching Mary, and of course teaching you and me this morning, that we have been liberated to live our lives each and every moment with an expansive generosity. Certainly not frivolous, certainly not recklessly, but generously, open, willing to share. My brothers and sisters, we are not to hoard life, but spend it well. To turn life loose with joy and thanksgiving. Let the sound of more than a few alleluias accompany and ring through our living. And yes, even in the midst of dread and pain or disappointment or the anxiety that this part of life might be shorter than we could wish, even here, Jesus' resurrection liberates us from fear. The reason is we are possessed. We belong to the source of all life by the author of perfect love. So as hard as it must have been for Mary to hear those words, "Do not touch me," somehow she intuitively trusted Jesus. Mary trusted her best friend and teacher and went and announced to the other disciples what? "I have seen the Lord." And from that moment on, the whole concept of life, the whole concept of living in the midst of this life, changed forever. My brothers and sisters, what Jesus' resurrection offers you here today is an invitation to an open, liberated, generous living. Resurrection's gift is real and tangible and immediate and present to you because you are living it right now. Jesus is simply inviting you to live it even more. No holds barred. Dare to live it all. Dare to share it all. Dare to let today's alleluias echo and re-echo into every corner of your life experience. And look, if you can dare to live this way, fully possessed by Jesus, you will not only glorify your God, you will bring this resurrected, liberated living into the lives of those others around you. And then you watch. Life will really be turned loose in this world. And there will be no telling what such love and joy can accomplish. Maybe, even maybe, other folks will be able to join you with gusto. And Jesus Christ is risen today. Okay. Jesus Christ is risen today. He is risen indeed. Hallelujah.